So Zomato's IPO is live now. What I'm trying to do by putting out this video is to put out some information that will be relevant to you in order to decide whether to apply for it or not. So before starting, I would want to say that in this video we won't be covering the history of Zomato or from the time when it was Foodie Bay and then its name got into Zomato and all. In this video what I'm trying to do is to put out information regarding its business model, SWOT analysis, and how can you decide whether to apply for it or not. Before you actually understand that how does Zomato generates its revenues, let me share three things in case you don't know. The first is that the IPO price is from rupees 72 to 76 and the time to apply for the IPO is from today till the 16th of July 2021 and the listing date is 27th of July 2021. Listing date means that the date from which you can start trading the shares of Zomato. Zomato has successfully acquired Uber Eats and Runner, and it also has a 10% stake in Grofers. Now let us see that how it generates its revenue from the B2C business model. Now many of us used to believe that Zomato and Swiggy just generates its revenue from the delivery charges it takes, but it is not so. Zomato also generates its revenue from Zomato Pro, the subscription, and it also provides dining facilities. Now let us come to B2B. I have listed here two things, that is Zomato's Hyperpure and advertisements. Now this is something which is pretty understandable, that what Zomato does is it takes money from restaurants and they rank their food on their app. But many of the people don't know about this. So it is basically a service provided by Zomato. They provide raw materials to restaurants and they do this in bulk, and therefore it is very cost effective. And this is also a way in which Zomato earns revenue. Now there is also something which is a blend of both of these, B2C and B2B, and that is Zomato's consultancy services. Even this is something which people are not aware of, that if you or any business wants to open a restaurant, then you all can do so by taking the Zomato's consultancy services. Now why to do so? It is very obvious, because Zomato has a large amount of data which they have gathered about people using artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science and all of that. Now many of you might be thinking that I am missing out something which is very important and is very talked about right now, and that is something called the cloud kitchen. I'll be talking about it a bit later, but I just want to add one thing here, that Zomato is going to face challenges here also. How? I'll be telling you about this after the SWOT analysis. Let us see what are the strengths. So the first one is obviously that it has a large amount of customers by now, therefore resulting in large amount of deliveries. It is one of the biggest two giants of this type of business. Obviously the one is Zomato and the other one is Swiggy, and it has a strong brand name. Now let's come to the weaknesses. So obviously the first one is that it is still now a loss making company. The second I would mention here is the security breach that happened in 2017. So I can say that it doesn't have that strong security system. The last two are a concern of many people. I have talked about this IPO thing with a lot of people, and even they have mentioned about these two weaknesses of Zomato, that there are a lot of restaurants, old menus which are in the app and they have not updated it. The second is their customer support. Let's move to the threats now. The first one is obviously the pandemic. The pandemic has hit every business. Yes, we do agree with that, and it has hard hit many restaurants, and comparatively Swiggy and Zomato were less hit. But it is a threat, no? So the second threat I would list here will be high competition with its future plans as well. Now, what do I mean by this? So we were talking about cloud kitchen. Now, do you know that Zomato is not the only one which has a cloud kitchen? There is also Swiggy, there is also Behrooz Biryani, there is also Fasos, there is Biryani by Kilo, then there is Khichdi Experiment, there is Sweet Truth, there is Fresh Menu. There are many more. I don't remember the other names, but yes, you can imagine that it is not something very unique that Zomato is bringing, right? Like for example, Google is very dominant in the search engine section, okay, and Amazon is a very dominant player in the e-commerce section. But can we predict from now that will Zomato will be the dominant one or not in bringing this sort of technology? We can't, right? We cannot say that from now. So I feel so that it is also a threat right now. And also, one more thing I want to mention here is that Amazon has brought its food delivery services. Now, how many of you knew about this? It has already begun in Bengaluru, and with Amazon, I'm sure about one thing is that they are going to expand very soon, and also it's a threat to Swiggy and Zomato. Now, what are the opportunities? The number of users using Zomato will increase in near future, because obviously now internet is not accessible to everybody, right? So the number of users are going to increase, it won't decrease, right? So obviously it's an opportunity for them. Then there will be advancements in technology, as it has been. And the third one is also, I believe, India's population. It is huge, and most of the people right now don't have internet access. In this section, I would also want to include the cloud kitchen thing plus the hyper pure business of Zomato. Obviously, I said that we cannot predict from now, but we can say that if these two things goes out very well, then obviously it is going to be very profitable for Zomato, and it's an opportunity for sure. Okay, so now the main question comes that should you apply or not? Obviously, I cannot give you a straight answer, because then I would be the only one who will be getting into trouble because of this. But I can provide you two ways in which you can think. The first one is by seeing the current scenario, and the second one is by following a futuristic approach. Okay, so the first thing we can say by looking at the current scenario is that it is a loss making company. Okay, the second thing is that it is 29.99 times overvalued. It is a too overvalued IPO according to me. The third thing is that it is not a dominant player in this sort of a business because of Swiggy. Now let us see from the futuristic approach. So here the thing is very simple, that if you believe in these three things of Zomato, then go for it. If you really think that Zomato is going to perform tremendously and it will be a dominant player, and then it will expand in many more countries and make huge profits, then you can take your call.